years ago to visit me. But we went and spent this little gift certificate. It wasn't very much. I don't even remember what I got it for now. But he gave it to me and we went and spent it. We used it as an excuse really to have the afternoon shopping in Birmingham. Okay, then we went, there used to be you used to go in this little afternoon tea and dance place. They didn't serve anything but tea or coffee or cakes and sandwiches, and it was an afternoon dance for people that, like me, worked all night, you know. Okay, you never could do anything at night like some of the others could, so they had this little place where they had a little combo and you could dance and meet somebody, and well, we stopped in there and got tea and coffee. We didn't dance, we just watched the others, but it was a nice, friendly place to be seen. Ladies could go into it without somebody pointing their finger and saying, oh, just look where they've been, you know, like you're committing the unholy sin. So we went in there and we went out to them, we was one, and they came up with these little penny arcade things. Was very new to us, but they came in World War II. So we went in and we put a penny in the slot and, you know, just, it wasn't one-armed bandits or anything like that. They did things like they'd read your fortune or push this button to see if you're dressed in blue, and if you are, you got a free turn on it. Something silly, but just amusing and just, well, anyway. There was this machine, and if you put a penny in and put your hand on there like this, and all these little buttons would jump up, and it'd tell you how good you are. You're marvellous, you know, you're so educated, or you're another Marilyn Monroe, or, you know, the type of thing, little cards already printed, comes out, you know, just nothing, but it was just silliness. And we had a bunch of pennies, and we was putting the pennies in. Well, these two GIs walked up with their hospital armbands on. Obviously, they were in the hospital, but out on R&R, you know, like you get R&R this afternoon, but you got to be back home in the hospital by like 8 o'clock in the evening, or, you know, this sort of thing. And they were both just, they were far from home, they'd been injured, they was R&R from a hospital in a town they couldn't care less about. Really all they want to do is either get back with their buddies or go home, one of the two, but get me out of this blasted place. All right. You know, put your hand in here and let me see how marvellous you are. And I stopped, you know, put his hand on there. In fact, I spoke to the other guy. Molly talked to Ray first. We both just sort of, come on fellas, you know, get your chin up. Well, it wasn't really flirting or anything like that. Here was these two guys down in the mouth, and the whole town was covered in them, you see. Birmingham was an R&R for all the American boys that was hurt. We had two big hospitals that was nothing but Americans, and they, like I say, they'd R&R them every day or every 2 or 3 days or something. Well, come on in and, you know, stick your hand down on here. And I put the penny in. I said, boy, you might be somebody special, you know. I said, boy, I'm hot potato. Look at my tickets, you know. Oh boy, I was really something. So, and well, we just joked about it, and that's how we met. Well, we went when it got opening time. Why, we took them to the St. James, which was a nice pub that we all went to. All the policemen always went there. We always enjoyed, you know, visiting and just sitting around chewing the fat. So we took them down there, and they had, I don't know what they had, me and Molly, which is this much beer and that much 7-Up, and you mix it, and then they call it a shandy, which is a good one, it really is. But that's how we met. And I met him a couple of days or 3 days after that, and then he went back to the service, went back to Germany. So
Mr Morrow was in the
he was in the army.
Yeah. He got wounded in Germany.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's when I met him. And then he was gone for, he was gone almost a year until I seen him the next time. But I wrote to him.
Oh, you kept it?
Yeah, he gave me his APO, and his number was 39395661.
Oh, never forget it.
I wrote so many letters to that number, I'll never forget it. I've got his dog tags down there somewhere.
Well, I'm glad to get those.
Oh yeah, yeah, he liked her. And he was ever so good about answering too. He was quite a nice letter. He had a lot better, nicer handwriting than I did. I've not got a good handwriting, never did have.
With Mr. Morrow, an infantryman?
Yeah,
Nobody.
he was in the 35th. 35th Battalion, yeah. He was, I think he was infantry. But they bedded, how he got hurt, they bedded these big guns, put them up front and bedded them in. And one of them was wicky-wacky. Anyway, the first time they fired it, it fell over.
Oh my God.
And fell over on him here, so he never did, really, he never knew what hit him. He woke up in a hospital in England and lost everything he had, because the troops moved on, and I don't know whether they shared what he had or whether they left it behind. He never got back there again. But that's the story about how I met him. Met him in the Penny Arcade.
And you, throughout the war, you kept your duties up as a English policewoman.
Yeah, I didn't resign even when I married, you see, because he came back to America. Well, I had to do something. He couldn't just, well, I was like everybody else. I was working for a living. And I never did sign up for any of his army allowances or anything like that. He'd always sent it home to his mother, and I didn't need it. I had a good job, so it always went to his mother. I never did apply for, what is it, wives get so much allowance or something. I don't remember, I don't know. That's how much I know about it. I never tried. It never even crossed my mind, to be truthful. It always went to his mom, and why would I interfere with anything like that? I didn't need it and I wouldn't want it. And he was raising his niece and nephew. So the mother was looking after him, and he was sending his army pay home. So.
You were married on VJ Day?
No, we was married on the Friday before VJ.
Oh, before.
Yeah, it was I think it was 2 days. In fact, I know it was because we went to a friend of mine's house the night we married, and because the party went on at my house, it went on for 3 days. My mother and father went, oh Lordy, there was people sleeping on the stairs. Take the mattress off the bed and put it on the floor, and there was 4 on the mattress and 4 on the feather bed. Oh Lord, the house was full. You stepped over them like dead bodies.
Well, I mentioned that VE Day was probably...
VE was ours. VJ Day was wonderful, but VE was ours. Because, let's see, VE didn't come till after VJ, did it?
But you go to it before.
Yeah, all right, I got them mixed, Vicky Burkey. VE Day was our time. VE night, I was just walking home from my tour of duty when, the whole place exploded. Everything exploded. People was dancing in the streets, and they drove Mrs. Doughty's piano out on the sidewalk, and we went to the pub, and of course beer come in big casks like this, like probably 40 gallon or something. We have 50 gallon drums, don't we?
A keg is something like 30 to 50, something.
Well, anyway, it was a great big wooden barrel, and we put it up in a trestle and put a spigot in it. Everybody helped yourself, Yeah, it was really marvellous. And dance, there was always somebody playing that blooming piano, Mrs. Doughty. People would dance and sing and hallelujah, build bonfires. Oh, Lord. I don't know how many times Hitler got burned that night, but his soul went to the devil, I'll guarantee you.
And I'm glad it did.
I am too. Oh, he was a bad one, that man was. It was such a bad one.
That had to be a wonderful feeling to finally be able to rest and just enjoy.
Yeah, no more bomb shelters, no more, all right, we're going to be able to get some gasoline after a while, and maybe we could get a car. And I mean, after all, years had gone by and we couldn't get a gallon of gas.
Yeah.
So, but who's gonna take away the gas that the troops need to get where they went just so that we could go joyriding?
Yeah.
It just didn't happen that way. It just simply, we done without. Really, we did.
For a number of years.
But yes, but it was all for a good cause.
Oh yeah.
All for a good cause. I'm about talked out, Michael.
Are you getting tired?
I'm about talked out.
You said that was the Queen Mary?
Queen Mary.
Was Mr. Morrow with you, or you?
Oh no, he'd been over here 6 months by that time. But he come on back on the Queen Mary too. It was a troop ship then.
Oh, okay.
And when I come over, you see, it was bringing the families of the guys that had married foreigners, like me, you know. And it was full of women and children. There wasn't no men, only the crew. It was all women and children. You never seen so many blooming kids and pregnant mothers in your life. Whew, thousands of them.
How long did it take to make the trip?
I believe it took 6 days that first time. They couldn't really go that fast because of so many small children. I have crossed in 4.5 days.
Oh, I didn't realize you could go that.
Yes, oh yes. The
Pretty
Queen,
good ship,
well, yes, well, Queen Mary was the biggest one afloat in those days. It was the biggest ship in the world, passenger ship. And in fact, she was so big, when she was a troop ship, she couldn't stay in convoy. She was too big, she could go too fast. So when they got so far out in the ocean, she broke convoy and just beat it. And really she was, the U-boats hunted her several times, but they never did get any close hit of any sort. She's, in fact, I believe the Mary now, isn't she in Los Angeles, or is it the other Elizabeth? I believe it's the Mary that's down at Los Angeles. It's beached, parked, whatever you want to say, and they've changed it, but there's all kinds of restaurants and theatres, and there's no bedrooms, or unless there's a couple of motels on it. It's a tremendous thing. You see, it's 14 stories tall, and even when I was on it, there were streets you could go shopping. There was a place where you could buy clothes. There was a place where you bought tobacco and candy. There was a beauty operator. There was a doctor and a nurse and a dentist. I don't remember what else.
The city afloat. Right?
Yes, except instead of having concrete, you walked on carpet.
How did you meet Mr. Morrow? Did he meet you up in New York?
Oh Lord, no, he met me right here in Tulsa. We'd come on a train, yes, and with a Pullman, yes, and a porter to unload your bed every night. Of course, we spent, 3 nights on the train, and it was almost as long a time from New York to here as it was to cross the ocean.
Yeah.
But it was very nice. We had a dining room, and you know. Now we on the train, the ticket was provided, but you bought all your food and anything that you wanted, you bought it. When we was in New York, it was kind of funny. I've always been a bit rambunctious, of course. There was in this one carriage, you know, there was probably 5 or 6 of us ladies and 4 or 5 children. I don't remember how many. Anyway, on the platform, there was these stalls that sold just about anything, you know, candied fruits, piles of fresh fruit,